So welcome to another week of training in preparation for the marathon. We're less than a month out. It's January 21st today. The first marathon of the season is February 16th. It's the Austin Marathon. And today's workout is the threshold run. So as you guys know, I'm only using the treadmill at this point for like threshold tempo runs. Everything else, all my other training is outdoors. This is my first workout after my 20-mile run, which was Sunday. Yesterday, Monday was off. Today is Tuesday. So today's threshold workout, it's about 50 minutes long. It is a 10-minute easy warm-up jog in the beginning that I'll warm up. I've already done all my mobility, I've done my stretching, I've done my foam rolling prior to this. Now the workout itself, it starts with 2 sets. Each of those sets is 10 minutes at tempo pace. So it's 2 times 10 minutes at tempo pace, which is between a 6:25 and a 6:35 minute per mile pace. And that's with 2 minutes of rest after each tempo interval. Then after that, we go into 2 times 5 minutes at tempo pace. So 2 additional sets. Each of these tempo paces, again, 6:25 to 6:35 minute per mile pace with 1 minute of rest after each tempo interval. And then there's 5 minutes of cool down after that. So it's 10 minutes warm up, 4 sets of tempo pace, 5-minute cool down. So let's get into it. So because this is on a treadmill, obviously, and a track pace between a 6:25 and 6:35 minute per mile pace, once we go into these tempos, the speed that I'm going to be running on the treadmill is between a 9.5 and a 9.7 miles per hour. So that is, just found a conversion online that'll set it up for you. So when we go into this tempo in 30 seconds, I'm going to put it between 9.5 and 9.7 based off feel. So about to hop into it. Woo! All right, it's around set 1. Now we got 2 minutes of break. I'll do round 2, which is another 10 minutes. What I found over time, since adding these workouts in, they get easier. They do. You get more comfortable breathing. You get more comfortable with your legs moving faster. It pushes you. It does. It pushes you. But you gotta focus on not being focused all the time. Finding something in your head that distracts you, that you can think about during like tempo threshold runs, it's difficult. And it's easier said than done. But that's the trick. Take your mind somewhere else. Focus on something else. Get comfortable running that tempo. Just fall into a groove. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that is the threshold tempo workout for the day. And it was beautiful. All right, so knocked out some early morning meal prep for today's lunch. One thing I'm like a massive fan of, and I highly recommend you guys try is when you buy like ground turkey, buy the ground turkey that is Italian seasoned. So good. So good. But this morning I'm about to hop into the homemade ice bath. So current temperature, there's a massive, you can see this massive piece of ice. So obviously it's pretty cold. And the temperature this morning, it's about 30, 33, 34. So we're about to hop in here for 3 minutes to start this morning. All right. 3, 2. Now the one reason one of the reasons I like the ice bath, not just for recovery purposes, you get blood flowing to the extremities, the lower body, is, and I've talked about this before, it's a matter of discipline. It's testing your discipline. Like, you wake up in the morning, it's cold outside, and you have to get into an ice bath that is like 33, 34 degrees. It's a good start to the morning. It's a good start to the day. Once you get used to it, it's just controlling your breathing. Controlling your breathing, focusing on what you're doing. Just that initial shock. That initial shock gets you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's like 3 shots of espresso right to the face. So we got a lot going on the next couple days. I launched my book in 6 days. So 25 hours a day launches January 28th. Today is January 22nd. Tomorrow, our entire team is flying to Los Angeles, and we're meeting our athletes there because we're having the Bear Performance Nutrition pop-up shop this Saturday at Venice Beach. So that's this weekend. And that plus marathon prep plus the book launch, there's a lot of moving pieces right now. So like in a few hours, I have to head downtown Austin to work with my publisher to go over all of the pre-launch book stuff to wrap it all up so we're all on the same page and synced up. But this is what I've been doing, honestly, for the past couple of weeks, is I have my breakfast in the morning. It's like my mid-morning snack, a Field Bar. So currently we have 2 flavors, chocolate peanut butter blondie, chocolate cereal crunch. Chocolate cereal crunch is currently sold out, but I have one of these mid-morning in between my breakfast and my lunch. But what I want to talk about now is something I think that's very important for a lot of people getting into endurance work. Now, I feel as if I have addressed this briefly in other platforms, being my podcast, the Bear Performance Podcast. I recently did an episode about transitioning from strength training into endurance work. I've answered Instagram DMs and questions, and I've talked about it briefly on YouTube, but this question comes up more and more and more. And it's typically, the question looks like, I'm new to running, how do I get better? This sucks, it's not getting easier. And this is the way I'm going to address this. It's my biggest mistake when I first started running, when I first started training for my first marathon. And coming from a background of running where it was just for the military and there wasn't much strategic programming in place to get better, and then learning what works, well, I realized I made a lot of mistakes. And I'm assuming a lot of other people are making a lot of mistakes as well. And coming off of Ironman prep into this marathon prep, I realized what I was doing wrong previously and what I've been doing right as of recently. Now, when we look at my Ironman preparation, it was a lot of zone 2 training, a lot of aerobic base building, if you will, especially with running. So over those 6 months, I built this very strong aerobic base because I was running at a low heart rate for longer periods of time, like zone 2, building that base. And what happens with a lot of people, myself included when I first started running years ago, It was like, all right, I have to run 4 or 5 miles. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to run as hard as possible. And it never felt like it was getting easier. It never felt like it was getting more comfortable. And I never felt like I was getting much faster. And I always wondered, well, why am I not getting better? Why am I not improving? And I just assumed that I wasn't a born natural runner. And what I realized recently with this transition to endurance training is what I was doing wrong was I wasn't building my aerobic base. And I'm assuming that's what a lot of people are doing incorrectly. They're not building this aerobic base. Now, how do you build an aerobic base? Well, that is like mostly your zone 2 training. Now, a lot of your training, myself included for like this marathon prep, is zone 2. Zone 2 is where you have a lower heart rate. You can pretty generally run at a comfortable pace and hold a small conversation with someone next to you. And you're building that aerobic capacity over a long period of time where you're doing longer runs. That's like 80% of your training, like I've said. And then to get faster, you start incorporating these tempo workouts, these threshold workouts like I did yesterday, track workouts, fartleks, the intervals that I've been doing, the really hard workouts that are zone 3, 4, 5, the intensity. But what you have to focus on is you have to build that aerobic base before you can focus on getting faster and focus on speed for endurance. Now, what's been to my advantage was during Ironman prep, like I said, I built this aerobic base. It was a lot of zone 2, low heart rate, long distance running, and I felt really, really solid. So coming from building that base into this marathon prep where we included and incorporated these thresholds, these tempos, these intervals, track workouts, stuff like that for speed, well, I was building off on a base that was already established. That made it a whole lot easier. So my biggest mistake, and if you're watching this, you might be making this mistake as well, focus on building that aerobic base first, and then focus on speed. Then focus on the thresholds, the tempos, the intervals, stuff like that. It will all come together, but you have to build that base first. And the day continues, now heading downtown Austin to meet with my publishing agent, who is Lion Crest. And like I said earlier, we're putting together the final details for the week of launch, which I'm super excited for. It's crazy to see this all come together. Like, I've been working on this book for over a year now, and to see it all come together, like to see on the calendar launch day, it's pretty cool. It's pretty crazy. So I appreciate all the support, guys, all the pre-orders, all the people buying the book and receiving it already, because if you did pre-order it, Amazon ships it early to you, so you actually get the book before it officially releases on Amazon. There's been a bunch of you, so I really appreciate it. I really do. Thank you. Super successful meeting about the book launch, and then strategies moving forward after the launch. We're both very happy, me and the publisher, about pre-sale orders and orders so far, like at this point before we even launch, and the amount of copies that have been sold. And we were just like planning projections on media, podcasts, interviews, articles like that moving forward after the launch. Think about a book. I think that a lot of people don't understand. I didn't used to understand this. The point of writing a book, you're not going to make money off it. Like the book itself, you're not going to make money off of a book. A book, depending on what category it's in, it has to have a purpose. Like my book, the purpose, when I first hopped on the call with the publisher months back, over a year, they said, what is the point of this book? Why do you feel like you have to write this book? And I said, I can tell you a specific moment when I decided I had to write this book, looking back. And it was after a PT session with my guys at Fort Hood. And I looked around and I saw these guys, and they had so much potential. A lot of them were smarter than me. They were more skilled than me. They were just like smart, born natural leaders. Great dudes. But the thing is, they didn't believe in themselves, a lot of them. They thought they had these mental and physical caps, these barriers placed on themselves that didn't allow them to do what they wanted to do. And this book is for guys just like that were in my platoon, saying like, dude, you can do whatever you want to do. This is what you're gonna have to do to get there. It's gonna suck sometimes, it's gonna be hard, but it's gonna be worth it. That's what the book is for. It has a purpose. And the purpose isn't to make money on a book. It's to change lives in 25 hours a day, in my case at least. And that's what the reason behind writing this book was. So I feel very good about moving forward. I feel really good about getting this book in people's hands and making that happen. Now, with all that being said, I do want to clarify that yes, I do get paid royalties from Amazon when a book is sold, but it's a small percentage. I have to take a cut from the cost to get that book made and produced, and then Amazon gets a cut, and then I get a cut. But what I'm trying to say is the amount of work put into this book, the amount of time required, the amount of focus, the return on it isn't anything crazy, you know. So no one should ever write a book to make a lot of money. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. But it has to serve a purpose, and that's why I wanted to write a book.
See you there.
Update on warehouse situation. As you guys know, a few weeks ago we are looking for more space. We've pretty much maxed out our current spot, which is like 10,000 square feet, and we've been looking at options to get around 30,000 square feet, working with a commercial real estate agent and our landlord. So this spot is actually in our current business park. This is a deal we're trying to work right now. It's right across, like back of our warehouse looks at the back of this warehouse. This is 30,000 square feet. It's not built out yet. So I'll show you around what might be the new BPN HQ. Oh yeah. That's so big. That's
You
like
think this is self-incriminating,
dude, that's like
being in
50,000
here?
square feet.
Like the-
The thing about this spot is it's not built out to spec at all. So if we ended up getting a deal like this, we would come in and we would say, okay, well, you get money per square foot, like I've talked about before, for the square footage space. So we get to build it out. We'll show you my vision of what I'd like to do in all this space. It's a lot.
It's a big spot, that's for sure. I mean, if we can do it, let's do it. I like these spaces over here, that's for sure. So
Here and over would all be office. But for the office, I'd want to do 2-story. So actually, like my publishers, I got the idea today at the publishing office. They've utilized their space very well, where the office space is 2-story. It's like a mezzanine kind of. So I want to do something like that. So everyone has their own individual office, but there's also an open concept creative space. And then we make the gym like 4 times as big as it currently is, and the rest for warehouse. As you guys know, warehouse space gets me super excited, gets me super jacked up. The thing is, you gotta put yourself in a space, right? And you have to conceptualize and imagine yourself there. Imagine yourself growing into it. I've loved, I think, warehouse space and starting a business because you take yourself to the next step, that next warehouse you're not ready for yet, or the future or growth where you could be. And you just you imagine yourself there. What's it gonna take to get here? Like, what's it gonna take to get there and in a bigger spot and with growth? And you force that growth. And you build that culture with your team and your community. That's what gets me excited about this. Well, we will know in the next couple of weeks what the plan is, but we're excited, we're all excited. So we'll see you guys in LA this Saturday. All the details in the description box below, where we're gonna be, times we're gonna be there. All the employees are gonna be there. All the athletes are gonna be there. We'll see you in LA.